Hi, I'm Ramnath Dikshit, founder and facilitator at Squirrel Interventions. It's been close to 2 decades now that I've been facilitating behavioral interventions for organizations. And one question that I repeatedly get to hear from almost every new client that I work with is it really worth it investing in training our people? Because if we train them, they leave after some time. So do we need to do all this exercise? Well, the answer to this question is yes, you need to invest in training your people. I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why that's important. Number one, when you train your people, they acquire new knowledge or new skill. Now, the way that happens is when they attend a training, they get to interact with the facilitator, they interact with each other. So they also have peer learning and they get to solve a lot of problems as well, which means you're acquiring knowledge, you're acquiring new competencies and skills, which you can go back and apply at the workplace. Well-trained employees often result in better performance, better results, better organizations, and a happier workplace. But apart from this, one of the most fundamental reasons why you should invest in your people, especially through trainings, is it because it inspires them. Training inspires people. When people attend a training program, they experience motivation, but at the same time, the message that an organization gives to its employees is, look, we want to invest in you. We trust you, we believe in you. And therefore, the employees feel a sense of belongingness towards the organization, and they also feel the need to take ownership and reciprocate accordingly. Let me tell you the third reason. But before I come to that, here's a story for you. There was a very successful businessman who had earned millions and millions of dollars in his lifetime. But now his quest was to acquire knowledge and wisdom. Unfortunately, from his friends, he had heard of a monk who lived in the foothills of Himalayas. So the businessman decided to meet the monk. He reached his house. He knocked on the door of the monk. The monk opened the door and looked at the gentleman and said, "Yes, how may I help you?" And the businessman said, "Well, I was a very successful businessman. Now I've come here to acquire wisdom from you. Would you please help me?" He said, "Sure, but do me a favor. Come back tomorrow." So the businessman left and he returned the next day. Once again, knocked on the door. The monk opened the door and the monk said, "Yes, how may I help you?" And the businessman said, "Well, remember yesterday I came to you for knowledge, wisdom. You asked me to come back." He said, "Yes, I remember that. Do me a favor. Come back tomorrow." The businessman felt a bit weird, but then left. This happened for the next few days until one day the businessman got fed up and said, "Look, either you get me in or I'm leaving, never to come back." He said, No, don't get angry. Come inside. Would you like to have a cup of tea?" He said, "Yeah, sure." So the monk started pouring tea in the cup. Now the cup started getting filled to a point where it was absolutely filled. And therefore the businessman stopped the monk, said, "Hey, look, the cup is full. There is no space. Stop, stop, stop." And the monk said, No, there's still some space. There is still some space. And he kept on pouring the tea until the tea finally overflowed from the cup. The businessman looked angrily at the monk and said, "Have you lost it? Can't you see? The cup is full." The monk looked back at the businessman with a smile and said, "This, my friend, is your problem. This cup is you, because you're like the full cup. There is no space left in it, and therefore I cannot add any further value. And for you to acquire new knowledge, you will first have to empty yourself." This brings us to the third element, and perhaps the most important point with regards to investing in people's training, because it allows them to unlearn. When people unlearn, they acquire fresh knowledge. They gain fresh perspective, and that helps them solve problems which they earlier weren't able to solve. So I'm going to leave you with 3 questions to ponder upon. Are we willing to invest in our people so that we can help them acquire a new skill or acquire some new knowledge? Are we willing to inspire them so that they feel the need to reciprocate? And last but not the least, do we want our people to unlearn so that they can look at things with a fresh perspective and solve problems that they earlier weren't able to solve? I hope the answer to all these questions is an emphatic yes. I'll see you next time around. Thank you so much for your time.